Hey folks, happy 4th of July. We're just going to make a short video here going over this new week. Um, I'm loving the cover letters and resumes, see my feedback on that, and the memos. So this coming week, this Sunday night, you will have your final donation request letter due. So that's this Sunday night. I've given you feedback on those. Um, and we're starting a new technical challenge. We're going to write a press release. So you have a bunch of readings on press release on D2L. So you have how to write a press release format, and then you have two examples of press releases. So you can sort of see how they're written. I want to show you what this looks like very, very quickly. So think of it this way, folks. A press release there's different types of press release. We're going to write one type. One type of press release is you're writing a short, compelling news story. An organization writes this, and then they send it out to the media to basically take up a story that they think they should run with. And so they sort of like write the story for them. That's one type. Another type of press release, and this is the one we're going to write, it's the one where, because a lot of journalists don't have specialized information in science or technology or media, etc., people from the field, right? People from those disciplines, from biology, from sociology, from psychology, they will write a press release about new discoveries or new information from those fields, and then they'll send that out to the media to take up that story, right? So let's say there's a new development in nanotech or in vaccines or in solar panel arrays, right? Or astronomy, right? A scientist in that field will sort of look at, okay, what is interesting to the general public? What do I think the general public should know? What is the story? What is relevant to everyday lay people? And they'll write it up really quickly, and then they'll send it out to local or whatever news organizations to hopefully pick up. Does that make sense? So for this press release, think of yourself as you're translating an article, right? So I would start by picking something like an interest that you love, right? If you love astronomy like me, if you love sociology, if you love psychology, if you love oceanography, whatever you love, that is what you're going to find a compelling story on to do your press release on. And then you're going to translate that article, right, into everyday language for an everyday audience that people like my mom, right, would understand. So let me show you a really clear example of this. I'm sort of talking around it. So let me go to, okay. So let me show you first, and then I'll show you. So I'm not sure if you're aware, this is a recent discovery out of astronomy, right? So astronomers are all over this. There is this new solar system called the TRAPPIST system. And as you can see, here's our system, right? Here's Earth. It's in the habitable zone, right? There's only one planet in our habitable zone, right? Mercury's too hot. Mars is too cold. There's this narrow belt of habitability. If you look at the TRAPPIST system, folks, there's like 4 planets that are in the just right heat zone of its star. This is like blowing astronomers' mind. There's like maybe even 5, right? But definitely D, E, F, G, and maybe H, right? As you can see, all of these planets could harbor life, right? They're in the perfect zone. They're all sort of squashed in here. So that is this new discovery coming out of astronomy. And so this is what I want you to do. Step 1, go to Google Scholar, find an article on an area of interest for you. Mine is astronomy. So I'm going to plug in, astronomy things like new discoveries, new materials, new star systems, the James Webb satellite, right? Plug those terms in, and you want to find a recent discovery, something new that your field of interest has just discovered, right? So mine is, I plugged it in since 2018, right? So hit 2018, 2021, 2022. You want a press release deals with new discoveries, new information, something that's newsworthy or relevant. So definitely hit since 2018 18, but you can also do 221, right? Like it just came out, or 222. So I've gone through some of these. The one I really like is this top one. So you're going to read your article, right, on a new discovery, right, in science, technology, engineering, arts, humanities, math, right? If it's arts or humanities, like, something that just came out, a new humanistic theory, right? A new book, right? A new novella, something, right? So there's so many ways to work this. I'm going to stay in STEM because that's sort of my side interest. So here's the article I want to do a press release on, right? Here's a discovery I want to do a press release on. They're looking at those atmospheres of those 6 TRAPPIST planets that are in the habitable zone. And so I'm going to read this, right? I'm going to go through this article, right? It's pretty dense, folks. I won't lie. This is like 12 pages. Well, actually, this one's actually more like 7. So as you can see, like there's a lot of data here, right? Your job is to read your article and then to find the most newsworthy story. I'm not going to cite data in my press release, right? I'm not going to be like, okay, 2 mass J33OX. Like I am not going to say any of this stuff right here, right? Popular audiences don't really want to hear this. They want to know what the story is, right? So let me read you a little bit of this and then I'm going to translate it. That is the job of a press release, is to translate really specific disciplinary discoveries, right, in any field into language that my mom would understand, right? I'm thinking of my mom as like the perfect audience, right? She just wants the story given to her. Or my dad, right? He doesn't want to think about all these numbers. He's like, well, why is this important to me? Why should I care about what this TRAPPIST thing is? What my dad would say. I can hear his voice right now. So I'm like, okay. So TRAPPIST-1 is a fantastic nearby 39.14 light years planetary system. It's made up of 7 planets. It is the most favorable system of potentially habitable planets known to exist. I'm starting to hear the story here. Since the announcement of this discovery, a growing number of techniques and approaches have been used to understand the true nature of these planets. And then it goes on, we're looking at state-of-the-art overviews, theoretical, blah, blah, blah. The goal is to get a better understanding, blah, 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 of whether they can have atmospheres. Okay, so, and I've actually read this whole thing. So I'm like, okay, what is the story here? What is timely? What is relevant to an everyday audience, right, of Americans or lay people, right? Not a specialized scientific audience, but everybody, that this could be on Channel 7 News, right? What is the story here? And so now this is where I translate it. And folks, you don't look at your article when you're writing your press release, your 1-page press release. You'll start reproducing some of the specific language. You do not want to be technical. You don't want to sound like irradiation environment, planetary formations, variations, stellar contaminant. That's their language. That's a scientist language. You want to be everyday journalist, right? That my mom or dad would understand. Okay, so here I go. I've sort of turned off, right? I'm not looking at it, and I'm like, okay. And easy way to start your press release, new study shows, right? New study says, new study discovers, okay? So my press release would start by, new study shows scientists have discovered 7 potentially Earth-like worlds that could contain life, right? And then I could go on, this is relevant or significant for the future of this planet in terms of climate change. We now have 7 potential worlds with life within a 39-year journey at light speed, right? Do you hear I'm making it into a story? I'm connecting it to, well, if we destroyed this Earth, which, it's going in that direction, here are 7 new Earth-like worlds with atmospheres that are being studied for life. And this, right, new study shows that 4 of these atmospheres, right, could potentially support life. They have strong atmospheres. They're in the habitable zone. So we have potentially 4 planets nearby, right? These are very close. in terms of light speed, that, right, here's the story, here's the relevance, that could support colonists, that could support human migration, right? Do you see how I turned all of that data, all of that jargon into a story, right? Into something relatable, into something interesting, into something timely? That's your job with this press release. Find a scholarly article on Google Scholar, right, that was published in the last 3 or 4 years, and then report out in simple, everyday language what's the story here? Why should audiences care, right? I'm not going to reproduce, again, all of these facts and figures, right? Like, 62 nights looking at all these things. Yeah, they studied this for over a year, right? So I'm just going to shorten it, right? All these different telescope names. Yeah, they had a lot of telescopes working on this, right? I'm not going to get into all of this math and science. I'm just going to tell the story, right? Climate change is ruining this planet. People are not stepping up. Astronomers have found potentially 5 new Earth-like worlds nearby. That's the story. That's what you have to do with your press release, right? Translate a complex disciplinary article into a story, into something that my mom or my dad would be like, oh, huh, yeah, I want to know more about that. That's fascinating. We can go to the TRAPPIST system. There's 5 Earths nearby. That's the story, right? Not all this jargon, not all this data, not all this math. Okay? Um, so that is what we're doing for this one. Again, you want to go to Google Scholar, just plug in, right, something that's of interest to you. If you like psychology, right, I would plug in, okay, what are some latest developments in psychology, right? Let's do 2022. Right? Maybe I could do like COVID psychology, right? And then your job is to translate into simple everyday language one of these articles, right? This environmental science, this psychological science. Feel free to work in translation, right? This one looks like it's bilingual, right? However you want to work, do it. If you have any questions, email me. I'm always available for office hours. Just, again, shoot me an email. And again, we have 2 examples of this. I break down how to write a press release, and then just put your draft of your press release, right? Just looking for a page, onto the discussion. We'll give each other's tips and feedback, right? That's this week. Thank you, folks. Have a great, safe 4th of July.